Okay, I'm trying to demonstrate something to you, and I don't know if you've noticed what the heck I'm doing, but this should have gotten it away. That's right. This is the Sequential Prophet 6, and it's in Unison mode. Okay, I don't know about your experience with Unison mode, but my first synthesizer was a Juno 106, and when you put it in Unison mode, it took 6 oscillators that were digitally controlled and put them all into a single channel and made what I really thought was a horrible noise. I'm sorry. I hated it. So I never used Unison mode. But as an analog monophonic synth player, I love the concept of it. If only you could decide how many oscillators occurred in mono mode and you didn't have to stack 6 or more of them all at once. Because as much as we think, oh, it'll make a really cool noise, if the oscillators are super stable, it makes a noise. You know, it's not cool. It's not like a 6 oscillator analog monosynth. It just makes this giant brick of sound, which can be useful. But I personally wish that I could control how many oscillators were in my mono mode. Well, with the Prophet 6, that's what happened. Because what you were just listening to me do was a single layer of oscillators in mono mode, in Unison mode. And as a person who is a monophonic player almost primarily, that's a great option because all of a sudden I've got 6 voice analog polyphony, or I've got a total monosynth right here. The Prophet 6 is a great monosynth. You have all of the functionality available in monophonic form, and you get to decide how many oscillators. Okay, so right now we're just hearing one oscillator. Okay, I can bring in oscillator 2. We'll have it set. That will allow us to have 2 oscillators playing. Super cool. Now, here's how you do the trick. Okay, if you hold down the Unison button, you'll see a number appear on the screen. Right now, that's 1. So that's like 1 layer of 2 oscillators. You can change that. You can do 2 layers. Now that really broadened the sound. I mean, it made it louder, which I think is what used to happen with the Unison mode on the Juno 106. You just got this loud stack of oscillators. But if you can control it by adding like 2 layers like we did here, you just get a bigger sound. And certainly detuning can be heard. And various other effects. You could do 3 layers. And when I say layers, I think what is happening, based on what I'm seeing and hearing, I think what is happening is when you see 1, that means 1 set of 2 oscillators, oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. So that's really cool. And then as you add more, it adds more. I also have glide on, so that's cool. I also have slop on, and we're going to talk about that here in a second as we add more oscillators. Now we have 4. That's 4 sets of 2 oscillators. I think we're distorting now. That's getting too loud. And more. Let's go to 5. See, the thing then that happens is you start to get a lot of doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling. And that's where you run into trouble because the doubling of oscillators stacked on top of each other tends to just make it louder. It gives it kind of this tunnel sound, at least to me. But since these are analog oscillators, VCOs, unlike the DCOs in, say, the Juno 106, you still get enough variation to get at least a decent sound. Let's go all the way up to 6. That's a very big sound. But here's a cool thing you can do. Remember how we talked about slop, which helps oscillators in a polysynth not track pitch very well so that it sounds more vintage and gives a warmer, more chorusy sound? Well, that can come into play when we've got 6 oscillators stacked on top of each other. It's lost that tunnel sound. It now sounds like what amounts to a 12 oscillator analog monosynth. That is a really big, cool sound. That's a really, really cool sound. So not only do I get my cake, which is a 2 oscillator monosynth possibility, but you can create a big 12 oscillator analog, messy sounding, giant sound using the unison function, which I think is how a unison function should really work. And of course, any oscillator changes you make when you're doing this are going to result in a different sound. So yeah, I absolutely adore this functionality, being able to have a single oscillator monosynth present on this synthesizer at any time. It will fulfill the needs of anyone like me who is largely analog based. You can have your polysynth and your monosynth all at once and do anything you want. Wonderful.